Hello everybody and welcome to the second episode of our small how to make a Bukkit plugin tutorials. So in this episode we're actually going to create our project, and actually by the end of this episode I guess we'll actually have a running piece of a plugin. So without further ado, let's just dive in and go for it. So first thing you want to do is file new Java project. I'm assuming you've already got Eclipse open, and then we're going to choose a project name, and this could be anything. And for the purpose of this tutorial, my actual first plugin I guess I did, or first mod, was for HMod back in the day a few years ago, and it was a plugin called Superheat. And the idea was that with a golden pickaxe, when you mined, say, stone, instead of giving you cobble, it will give you, stone, which you would put in a furnace. So we're going to play around with this idea, and I can show you how to implement it for like the pickaxe with the cobble. And you could implement it for, say, I'm going to use a gold pickaxe on iron ore to give me iron bars, or a gold shovel on sand to give me glass. So obviously it might not appeal to you, but just for the purpose of this tutorial it'd be a nice way just to show you how everything works. So I'm going to call the name Superheat, obviously call it whatever you like. I'm going to hit the Java Standard Edition to 1.6 just because, just in case you're going to develop this and some users don't have the latest version on their server. This will work on both servers, so it's recommended. And then you want to hit next. So if you're going to import some source, that'll be useful, but we're not. So I'm going to hit libraries and then add external jars. Now from earlier we had our server directory with our craft bucket.jar and our bucket.jar as well. You just want to select those two and hit open, and once that's all done we're all good. Just literally add external jars with those two, and that will add all the libraries and stuff we're going to need. So hit finish, and now we have our, if you look over in the package explorer, we have our project, and we have a src folder here, and that stands for source, and this is going to be where we write all our code. So without further ado, let's write the first bit of code. I'm going to write the main plugin class. So I'm going to right click source, hit new, and then class, and a new Java class window will appear. I'm going to call this class Superheat, and this is the name given to the file of our class. So hit finish. One thing we didn't actually do was create a package. Now this is recommended. So you see where it says default package, I'm going to hit F2. Oh, that doesn't work. So we're going to right click and do, okay, that doesn't work. So with our source we're going to right click, new package, and then we're going to type in me.samkio.superheat or sh. This is sort of the reverse URL name. Obviously I don't own samkio.me, but it doesn't really matter for this purpose of the tutorial. If you do have a domain name, then maybe you can use that and use whatever you like, but it doesn't really matter too much what you put here, just as long as you remember what it is. So I'm just going to put me.samkio.sh as our package, and then we're just going to drag and drop superheat.java into that package. So that's recommended, I guess, just to have anything other than just default package. And it should add this line of code to the top, package me.samkio.sh. And we have a very bare class file here. Not much going on. Literally 3 lines, and it's just defining the class. So let's extend this to make it the main file for our plugin. And what we want to do is extend Java plugin, and what that will do is it will extend the Java plugin. So any methods or functions within the Java plugin class for Bukkit we can now use. And this is very useful because we can, when the server loads it, it requires this plugin class to be an extension of Java plugin. So they can run the on enable, the on command, the on disable, and such forth. So that basically allows us to tell it the server is a plugin, so that's always good. The first thing we want to do is define our public void on enable. Now this is a function or method within Java plugin, so that whenever this plugin is loaded, it will run this piece of code here. So when your plugin is loaded by the server, this is what the first thing it will do. So we're just going to define a constant here. We're going to call it public static superheat instance, and then on enable, we're just going to type in superheat dot instance equals this, and what that will do, it will just define this static superheat, which is a class, which is this class, just so we can use it in other classes that we create. It keeps things simple for the tutorial, I guess. Don't really have to understand too much about that, because that's all we're going to be doing for that bit, but you'll see hopefully when we implement other classes how that will come in useful. The second thing we want to do is define a logger. So public final static logger log equals logger.get logger Minecraft, and what this logger will allow us to do is log things to the console. We can print things, we can print errors, we can print information, so that when we run stuff and debug stuff on the server, we can actually see what's going on. So that's how we do that. Public final. Final means it won't change. Public means it will be accessed by everything, and static again, so it just has to be static so that we can access it. So that's just the inbuilt logger, what we defined there. But we're going to make things a bit easier for ourselves. We're going to actually define a method or a function called log. So public void log, which is going to take two inputs, a string s and a level l. Now you might see me just jumping over stuff at some points, and some things get imported, and what I'm doing there, I'm pressing Ctrl Shift O, and that will basically fix up any import issues you have. So if you have red lines underneath things, like here I have level with a red line and I've got a red X here which I haven't got the import, I press Ctrl Shift O and it will do it automatically, unless there's multiple ones, like in this case here where there's a Java util login.level and a bucket level as well, and we're going to want the bucket level for this in this case. And then we're going to write our piece of code, which will be superheat.log and then .log again, and then we're going to want the level, so L, and the string, we're going to modify this slightly and have in square brackets sh space s. Okay, so let's just go over. I'm not sure where the right log there. Okay, so apologies for that. I actually had the wrong level logging. You want java.util.login.level. I'm not sure why I chose the other one, but anyway, so this is our function we just created, public void log, and what we can do, we can call things to that string and a level. This is the login level, so info, severe, error, that sort of thing, and it will just print to the console sh in square brackets with space and then our string. So this just keeps things tidy. Obviously with the whole tutorial, I guess this is just one example of how to do it. The beauty with programming is you can change and do different things all the time on how to develop your plugin. So you might do things differently, you might just put logs straight away in, but I like to do this just in case I change the name of it, for instance, or I just want to add an A, I can do that without having to go through all my code to do it. So on the enable, we're going to add a new line thanks to our new function which is created, and we're going to do this.log a string. So we're going to say superheat has been enabled, and then the level we're going to do level dot, and then it's going to be info because we're printing some information to the log. Okay, so that's a good start. Let's also, while we're here, create the on disable, and as you might have guessed already, this is called when the plugin is disabled. So we're going to do this.log superheat has been disabled, and then again level.info. I'll stop there. Okay, so now when the plugin is enabled and disabled, we are about to see that on the Minecraft log. So this is a good start. So now what we have to do is actually create the, I guess, the inner workings of the plugin. So for that we're going to need a new class. So new class, and we're going to call this superheat listener. And this class will implement listener. So again, I spell that right? Just hit Ctrl+Shift+O, and then all.bukkit.event.listener. Okay, so now this is our listener class. This is where we're going to write the bulk of our code just for this tutorial. And put in this class, we create things which allow us to listen out for certain things going on the server. So we can have events that we listen for, such as on block break, when a player chats, when a player logs on, when a player jumps, when a player moves, when something dies, for instance. And we can log all these events, I guess, and whenever something happens, we'll know about it. So in order to do this, we're going to do an @ symbol event handler, and then create a new function called public void, and we're going to be using the on block break event. So on block break, and then the block break event, and we're going to call it event, and import event handler and block break event, which it should have done, but there we go. Okay, there we go. And what this will do is it will, every time a block is broken on the server, it will have to go through this part of code first. The block break event here with the event E tells us everything we need to know. So event dot, we just type in event dot, we can get the block with dot block, and that will tell us what block was broken. Get the name, we can get the player that did it, and we can set things like cancelling it, we can set the XP to drop, and all sorts of things. The first thing we want to do is check to see if the event was cancelled. So we do if event.isCancelled, return. And what this line of code will do, it will first of all check if the event has been cancelled by any previous plugin. Say you have a plugin which stops, like a world guard sort of plugin which stops players destroying blocks, and it will cancel the event. We'll just check to make sure that if another plugin has cancelled it, we won't bother doing anything with the code. We won't check, or we won't turn any stone into stone. Okay, so that's the first check. That's just customary to do, really. The second one, we're going to actually have permissions. So if you're interested in how to use permissions, this will be a key part to look at. So if event.getPlayer, so this will get the actual player object, and then we're going to see if they have permissions with the has permission, and then again the string, so we're going to use superheat.use as our permission node, and then we'll that's something to do, return. So in this line of code, if the player has permission superheat.use, then it will basically return and stop doing anything. But this is not what we want. We want the opposite. We want when the player has a permission that it continues. The way we do that is simply placing a exclamation mark, and basically this will turn this true into a false in order to keep going. So what this is saying now is if the player doesn't have the permission node superheat.use, then it will return and will stop running the rest of the code. But what the return does, it will basically stop any code being run after this statement. So that's the first bit. The second bit we want to do is check and make sure the player is holding a gold pickaxe. So event.getPlayer.getItemInHand .getType .equals material.gold pickaxe. Again, if I'm going too fast, just quickly go back and pause it, and return there. Okay, so in this line of code, we're getting the player that destroyed the block, so event.getPlayer. We're getting the item in hand, which will give us an item stack object, and then we're getting the type of this object. So that all bit gets the material, so it could be, I don't know, a gold pickaxe or a diamond pickaxe, and then we're using the dot equals to ensure that the this material of this is equal to the material dot gold pickaxe. Again, for this one, we're going to make sure we have the exclamation mark in front, because if the player doesn't have a gold pickaxe, then we're going to stop bothering. And finally, we're going to check, again, very similar to the one above, the actual block has to be stone too. So event.getBlock.getType.equals material.stone. So here you can see how we can extend this to other things. So we could have another check where it checks for material.iron ore and other items here, and we can have different permissions and whatnot. So we can extend this, but for just now, for this tutorial, we're literally going to have one gold pickaxe and stone, and that's what's going to happen. Okay, so these are all our sort of checks before making sure everything is to our specification. We've checked that the event is still going, it's not cancelled, the player has permission, they're holding a gold pickaxe, and they've literally just destroyed a material.stone, so a stone block. So now we're going to insert our code. So this is the part of the code where we want to modify what this does. So the first thing we want to do is cancel the event. So event.setCancel true, and this will tell the other plugins that they've not destroyed the block, which in case we've done. We're going to stop them from destroying the block, and now we're going to set the location, I guess, or the block to air. So in effect, we're sort of emulating the block being destroyed. So event.getBlock will get the block, and then we're going to set the type to this material.air. So we've got this stone block in our world, we destroy it, and we're going to cancel it, so it hasn't been destroyed, it's still stone, but then we're going to set it to air in order to effectively emulate its destruction. This is not a good way of doing it. It really conflicts with like login plugins, but it's the only way, I believe, the current way to do it. There should be event.getBlock or event.setDrops or something in the future, but at the moment that's just the best way you can do it, and again, for the purpose of the tutorial, it's fine. And finally, we want to drop our stone block. So to do this, it's slightly more complicated. We want to get the location of the block, so event.getBlock get the world, well, the world of it will be alright, and then we're going to use the drop item naturally method within the get the world class, and this takes two parameters, the location and the item stack. So the first thing we can do, the location, this is very simple. We want the location of the block, obviously, so event.getBlock.getLocation, and that will just input the location of the destroyed block. And finally, we want a new item stack of the material type material.stone. And again, we want to import this, Control-Shift-O, and we're going to want the top one here. This is the problem with having craft bucket.jar in our libraries, is that you will see stuff like net Minecraft, which we shouldn't really have to use. And obviously if you're just starting with plugin development, you're going to want to stay away with this stuff, because obviously it's not the actual API. In some cases we'll need it in more advanced things, but we're just going to stick with the bukkit.org for now, and I highly recommend doing so if you're new to plugin development. Okay, so this is our code. Just to go over it one time, we just check to make sure the player has the permission, they've got a gold pickaxe, and they're destroying stone. Then we cancel the event, so we're effectively making them not destroy it. We set the type to air, so that the set cancelled makes it stone again, so we have to emulate destruction. And then we're going to drop a stone block where the stone was. So normally you would get a cobble block come out, now we're getting stone because we're using a gold pickaxe. Okay, so now if we go back to our superheat.java, the last thing we want to do on enable is create the sort of listener, I guess, of what we want to do. So we have to register that event we just created. Now the way we do this is by doing this get server, which gets the server class, and then we do get plugin manager, and then we're going to register the events, and then the listener, because superheat listener implements listener, we can input this here. So we're just going to put new superheat listener, and the arg1 is the actual plugin, so the Java plugin. We're just going to use this one here, which is this. So if you don't really understand the Java behind it, literally what this is doing is it's making this listener here work. It will start listening to all these events on the unenable, and this bit just tells us what plugin is registering these events, I guess. Okay, so we're almost done. Now we just want to create a new file, and we're going to be calling it plugin.yml, and this will open up WordPad or anything you use to edit YML files, and I'll just put that over there, so just have something as reference. So this basically contains all the information of our plugin. So this will be the name of it, the version of it, the author, and that sort of thing. And it's written in YML, so it's probably not recommended to use WordPad, and probably best to use Notepad++ or something, but why not? Let's use WordPad. So the first thing we want to do is call a name, so we're going to type name : space and the name of it, so superheat. That's very simple. And now this is very important, the main. So this is the main class that we run as your plugin. This is where your class extends Java plugin. So this is in my me.samkio.sh package, so me.samkio.sh and then the name of the main class, which is superheat. And we need that because it will not work without it. Finally, we have the version, so we're going to put 1.1.0, 1.00. We have description. So again, this is just a string, so we just call it where right. So we get superheats turns stone into, well, stone. That's very descriptive, but I will. We have author, Samkio, and then here as well we can have commands and dependencies and all sorts of things like permissions, but again we don't need that at the moment because, well, it's a very basic plugin tutorial. So if we go on SRC and we hit F5, that will refresh it and just make sure this plugin.yml is updated. So now let's go to File, Export. We're going to hit General, Java, jar file, hit Next, and we're going to select our superheat. We don't need all of this stuff, especially these settings. We just want the source really of all the Java files we have, also including the plugin.yml. And now we're going to want to select the export destination. So we hit browse and go straight into plugins, and then we type in superheat, and you can see there user sound desktop server plugin superheat. This is where it will create our superheat.jar. This is our actual plugin.jar file. So I'm going to hit finish, and now we've minimized this and open up our server directory into plugins. We should see here our superheat.jar file, and that's our plugin. So let's open that with WinZip or SimZip, and we should hopefully see our plugin.yml in there. Sometimes you'll have class paths depending on how you packaged it, but here we should have me, samkio, sh, and then the two classes we have, the main class superheat.class and superheat listener. So you notice in our IDE Eclipse we have .java files, and when we compile these are .class files. If we open these up, it will just be gibberish. We can't actually see those. So in a way, we compile them to class files, but we write them as Java files. Okay, so now that's our plugin. Let's have a look and see if it works. So we're going to run start.bat, and there we go. So here we have two lines: superheat, enabling superheat version 1.0.0. Now that is the actual bucket behind that. Doing that is taking out our name in our plugin.yml and our version, and it's just doing that for us. And then this bit here is our actual line of code which we created. The sh superheat has been enabled. That's what we wrote. And if we look here, this bit here, this bit, so obviously it's working. We've created the thing and it's done. So what I'm going to do now is go in game and have a look and see if it works. Hello everybody, welcome. We're just going to in game now. So let's just quickly test to see if our plugin works. We're going to put down some stone block and use our gold pickaxe. Just destroy it. You can see there we picked up stone. So if we were to break it with our fist, for instance, we get nothing. If you notice, I'm in creative mode here. If I just switch back to game mode 0, place down the stone, destroy it with my thing, I get stone back, which is what we did. So obviously the plugin works. We might need to test it further and debug it, but as a basic plugin, we are done. So thanks for watching. In the next episode I'll go over some more complex stuff, and maybe we'll go over some configurations and actually having some sort of database of users and commands. So see you next episode.